right, welcome, folks. We're here. That's Jennifer on the left, Michelle Barnes on the right. Tonight, Michelle has brought us the world tonight. It's going to be fantastic. Thanks, Michelle. And helping Michelle is her roadie, Joanne. Get Joanne to stick
Roadie.
her.
John, come here. Be my roadie.
Say hi.
Here she comes. Say hi, Joanne.
There we go. There's Joanne. Hi, Joanne.
Hi.
She's my roadie.
That's Michelle's roadie. The only thing she's missing is the satin jacket with the logo on it. That's the only thing we're missing.
Yeah. We're getting there. That'll
Okay.
be the next thing.
So Joanne, kind enough to show up tonight to just shuttle Temari back and forth, and we appreciate that. That's very kind of her, because we got a bunch to show you. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right to it. But let me get a couple of announcements in. As you saw in the opening thing, 2 o'clock Wednesday or Friday now, 2 o'clock Friday Eastern time, right here, we have the World Cross Stitch Day celebration. It's going to be one of those nights where I can't talk. I just tell. World Cross Stitch Day celebration, sponsored by Sassy Jacks, Diane Grick from Silver Creek Samplers, Angel Guillory, The Elegant Thread, Michelle May, Raspberry Rabbits, Linda Stoltz, Erica Michaels Designs, and Cindy Young from Luhu Stitches. All 5 of those will be each a half hour with us. I have no idea why I felt like I had to do this, but I did. Anyway, all 5 of them with us over the 3-hour period. So bring a pencil and paper. You'll probably find a chart or 2 you might want to buy. Get your favorite projects so you can stitch and listen, and something to drink. And join us for the afternoon as we celebrate World Cross Stitch Day with our 5 guests. It's going to be a lot of fun. Sunday is 2 women with more guts than I'd ever have. Amy and Memory Baker of Barefoot Needle. They just did a soft opening of their new shop on July 30. Their grand opening is September 18. Opening a new shop in the middle of a pandemic. So we get to hear about that. It's kind of a thing where, needlework is so hot these days that why not open a shop? But then again, a retail shop in a pandemic, ooh, gutsy. So we get
Where at?
North Carolina, South Carolina, one of the Carolinas, one of them. So Amy and Memory Baker are going to be our guests on the Sunday podcast. So looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Now remember, set aside some time. September 1, we'll be at the EGA seminar in Chicago. And Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time, we'll have live shows. So mark those on your calendar so you can join us. And then throughout the 3 or 4 days, and probably a couple days after that, we'll have other videos and other tours all recorded. So if you miss one, you'll be able to catch it. But you'll want to be there for the live shows those 3 nights as we talk about all the things we've seen and try and have some guests. I'm sure we'll be able to get some guests, but going to bring you as much of the EGA seminar as we can. So that's in September. And of course, I didn't write down the name because, that would be useful. But one of our listeners wondering who does Arabic needlework designs. And that had not occurred to me. And she was wondering who does Arabic needlework designs. So if somebody out there knows who does that, send me their name, because now I'm curious and I want to have them as a guest. She sent me a couple of examples, but most interesting design work. So if you know somebody who does that stuff or knows about it or whatever, send me the information, because I would really like to see if I can set up a show and then connect. This person is from South Africa and is looking for a designer. So if you could help us out, if you hear of someone or know of someone, would really appreciate it. Now, we had a drawing last week. We had 4 winners. Anne-Marie Mikowski, Sharon Asplin, Jan Michaels, and Kathleen Yantz were our 4 winners. You probably already have your things already. Those were the kits we had, the Mill Hill bead kits and a couple of other things. So Anne-Marie Mikowski, Sharon Asplin, Jan Michaels, and Kathleen Yantz all were our winners. And yay for you. They probably are already at your house. But anyway, so those are the winners. No drawing tonight because we're not going to take time because we're going to get to Michelle. So, yay. I'm just going to go ahead and put you full screen, Michelle. And we're going to have at it. There's Joanne in the background on duty. Joanne runs
Look at her,
the
she's
hills.
running away.
Joanne runs for the hills. I'm out of here. Yep.
I'm out of here.
Okay. So all right. So you set up now. Tell us a little bit. So we typically talk about Temari balls, so round ball, and then what you've
Yes.
done is taken it out of control and doing eggs. So
Yeah. And it,
yeah, go ahead. Tell the stories.
well, we'd be at the classes that Robin runs, and we would talk about needlework, what we're doing, and someone kept asking about the eggs. And I thought, eggs, because they're geometric shapes. And I was just trying to figure out, are they real and who does them? So a couple other times they mentioned eggs. Robin was like, no, I'm not doing eggs. So we had the pandemic. I went through every pattern I had. I even redid ones that I had done before. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to see if I can find something dealing with the eggs since I was so curious. So I did. And I said, well, what the heck? Let's try. So I tried different ways of wrapping it. And I've come to learn that wrapping the eggs is one of the things that people hate to do. Because of the shape of the egg, it's very difficult to keep it even and keep that egg shape. So this is one of the ones that we did, and it's not an egg shape because it's too round here. So the way that we were wrapping it, you couldn't keep that defined egg shape. So we said, there's got to be a better way. So this is what you'd start out with, which is just a styrofoam ball. I got the bigger ones because you could do more designs on it. And you get the kind that is rough. You don't want to get any of the styrofoam that you use. You don't want the smooth one. You need the rough so that the materials actually stick to it. So
Now,
what we did,
Michelle, Michelle. So for us regular folk, we would start with a styrofoam ball, and
correct.
And again, the rough is still important for the ball, right?
Right. They're all sold in the same area. You have all different shapes and sizes of the balls. I make tiny ones all the way up.
Okay.
And believe it or not, the tiny balls are harder to work on because the measuring of it, you have to eye a lot of the measuring. So the smaller the ball, the more complicated. And the larger the ball, the bigger balls are more forgiving, which seems counterintuitive, but that's the way that it is.
Yeah, okay.
So we started with the styrofoam. We tried to wrap it the way we did the regular Temari balls, and it wasn't working. They'd slip. It didn't look right. So what we decided to do is on the calendar balls, we used yarn. So that's what I did with this egg. So I did a layer. By doing the layer of yarn, it gave the thread something to adhere to, and we didn't have to wrap it as long because we had a stitching foundation. So this way we could maximize the stitching part, but then cover it just enough so that it looked like an egg, but you weren't distorting the shape.
Oh, I see. So at that stage, then minimum wrapping is the best because then it's easier to stay with that egg shape then.
Correct. Yes. But you need a certain amount. The way that I always say is whether it's an egg or a regular Temari ball, you want it to feel like a ripe avocado. That's the way, so you can feel it. You don't want them tight. That was a mistake that I made in the beginning. You want them like like I said, like an avocado. It should feel like a ripe avocado.
Okay.
Okay. Then the way that you do it is you have threads, just regular thread. You can use old ones if you have to wrap. But I started here and I had 5 spools of thread. And you just take it and you start wrapping and wrapping and wrapping and moving it around. You don't want any type of design. You want it to be random. And then you go down so you start with 5, then you go down to 4, then you go down to 3, and then you go 1. And the 1 is what you work on. So this right now this is my layer for the 5.
Okay, now you're going to have to help me with the numbers. What do you mean by 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
Okay. Do we have this? Here it is. This. Okay. When I say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, this is the serging thread that I use to wrap all my balls.
Oh, okay.
Whatever colors. A regular ball, I use three of these. And so you start wrapping with the 3, then you go down to 2, and then you go down to 1. But this is what we use.
Okay.
I always buy it when it's on sale.
3 strands.
3 strands.
Oh, that's what we're talking
I'm
about.
sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
3
so
strands.
we get a layer of 3 strand and then a layer of 2 strand. Okay, I see what we're doing now. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are all, so when you start with the colors, so I start with these 3. I actually use one of the yarn bowls and I put them in there, and you just wrap and wrap and wrap. Do you mind giving me one of the ones that's just wrapped? Thanks.
Yeah. And Mary wanted to know the weight of the thread that we use.
I use, where would I find the
40 weight?
I don't know.
Say 40 on there, or 50 or something?
Number 120, 200. I don't see any weight on mine.
Yeah, the serger thread's around a 40 or 50, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I just always bought the thread.
Yeah, because it's really strong, serger thread. That's why we use it.
And then this is one that's done.
Okay.
So as you can see, when you have when you finish off with the 1 strand, it makes it look smoother and finished. So this is what you would start. This is a regular Temari ball. So this is where you would start your geometric shapes and everything.
Okay, so that's finished and ready to stitch on.
This is ready to stitch on. And one of the things then is what you do is you have to do guidelines. So you have your pattern, you figure out what you want to do, and then you use the Krynic, which is like this. And I usually use 12, and that's what we use to do our guidelines. If it calls for...
Now, Michelle, I'm gonna back you up here just because I want to make sure that we understand what we're talking about. So the ball is fairly obvious, but then when it comes to an egg, now we aren't just going around and around in circles. Now we've got a challenge because of the shape. So what is that more difficult, or is it the yarn at the base that makes it able to do this without a lot of work?
Oh no, it's a lot more freehand.
Okay.
It's not as geometric because you can't really go and, like you do on a ball, you divide it in sections and then you work on the different sections. These are 2 different sections. So what I did for my first one is I determined what I was going to put in the center of the ball, which would be considered, or in this case, an egg, and that would be what is considered an obi, so the center of the egg. And then I did a design on the top, and then another design on the bottom. So that's the way that I did the first one, and this is the first one that I did. So
that was your practice piece.
This was my practice piece. So I made up the pattern. I just started, I know certain stitches, and I wound up doing the same stitch on the front or on the bottom and the top. But as you can see, because of the dimensions of the egg, the top looks much different than the bottom.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that I decided to do with these, since I had no rules, is that I used all different types of materials. So I used ribbon, I used the push pins. You were talking about the push pins. So these here on the obi, that's actually a pin with a crystal on it.
Okay.
And then this is just some stuff that I had from my daughter's costumes that I would make. So I just kind of went along and tried different materials. And a lot of these, we actually left the pins in it because I liked the look. I thought it was fun. Usually all the pins come out on a Temari ball. But like I said, in this case, so then I got braver after this one. And then I went to this one. And this one you can see is a lot more.
Ooh.
The stitching isn't as much.
Hold that closer to you. Further away. There we go. Now, yeah, a little bit closer to the camera now. There, right in there. Yep. Oh, yeah. No.
So the obi is ribbon. So all of it was done in ribbon. I have crystals in the center of the ribbon. And then I did the top design, which was very much like the top design of the other one. And then I did the bottom design the same way, but again, because of where they're located. Then one of the things that I did is I had these daisies from some costume I made or whatever. So I glued the daisies on. And then when I glued them on, I put pins in it to keep it in place. But it was so funny. We're all looking at it and we're looking at each other. And I said, I like the pins in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a random thing, and everybody liked the pins in it, so we left the pins in it. So that's what I mean. I use the ribbon, I use the pins, I use the crystals because it's an egg, and you can celebrate
Right.
it, and you can do whatever you want to.
Right. Now, is
And then,
there an aspect of this that once you get away from the traditional ball that that mentally frees you up to experiment because you're away from the tradition of the Temari technique, or am I reading way too much into it?
I don't know. I kind of I take it and I like just making it whimsical. So I know Robin is much more into the geometric shapes and the following of the rules where it may bother her. That might be something that it would make her feel uncomfortable to do some of the crazy things that I try.
Okay.
Because she was trained and, I haven't been trained that way. So I'm like, what's wrong with it? It's fun. So, so I think it depends on the stitcher and why are they doing it. And I just do it because I find it relaxing. I find it fun. I just love trying something new with it and just seeing if you can push the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah. I'm making a note here. Michelle equals troublemaker. Okay. I got it. Yeah.
Well,
got
the first time we had a class and Robin was there and I showed her one with all the bling on it. I've got a couple that I'll show you. I was afraid she wasn't going to like it because I was like, I know they don't in Japan. I know they don't, but I used to live there. It's okay. They'll forgive us, but it's so much fun. And every time I do it, I was like, I'm sorry, Robin,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But then I did this one, and this is a traditional Temari design.
Okay. Yeah. Watch your screen. Get it more to your left now.
Okay.
There we go.
There. Now, this is as you can see, it has all these what look like circles or swirls. Believe it or not, this egg and that design has it's all straight stitches. There is no curve in this entire thing.
Whoa.
It's an optical illusion. So, and then this is and to see the difference between the egg and then that one, I like that one. And this is what the ball looks like. So took the same design, took the same principle, but one is round and one is egg shaped.
Hold that egg more to the left there. Look at that. Yeah. All right. Now hold them up both side by each just so we can compare. Wow. Same design. What a difference.
Yeah, it was same design. And then you want to hand me the dragon's egg? We call this one the dragon's egg. I love this one. Isn't that gorgeous?
Wow.
And that was a pattern that I found. Again, it was a regular traditional Temari ball, but the way that it's stitched, it's very easy to adapt to the egg because it's just picking up the threads. So going over almost like a triangle. And I got the variegation because I use variegated green, then I went to variegated pink, and then I went to variegated purple, and then to variegated blue. So that's how I got
over
that.
To your left. You're way off the screen here.
Okay, there you go.
There we go. Yeah.
So that's how I got that variegated look. I love the variegated flosses. I have so much fun with them. So I use it a lot.
Yeah. Show
that
at the bottom there.
Egg.
Show that how it transitions to the bottom. Oh yeah.
That's the bottom, and then it goes up to the green. So this was a fun one too. And then I'll do the last one. So then we were going to use these for for Easter dinner. And and I had gotten crystal stands that had, 3 on each. So I had to do 6 balls or 6 eggs. So this was my final egg that I did for the year.
To the left.
And as you can see.
Oh yeah. Wow.
As you can see, it is blingified. I brought on the Swarovski crystals. I brought it all on. And then the tops, I actually pulled these down further. So I didn't do them as close. So I pulled them down further so you can see it's more of an open design.
Yep.
And then these are the Swarovski crystals. I used to work on my daughter's costumes, so I have crystals galore. So I was like, well, I have them. Let's try using them. And then the neat thing here is this obi. That's this center thing. It's called the obi. This is actually from scrapbooking. So it's tape. It's a tape with all the crystals on it. So that's how I created that obi.
So you just wrap that around there.
Just wrap it around. It was so much fun. And it picked up all the colors and it was easy. And
I know.
so
It looks like you beaded it. It looks
Yeah.
from a distance, it looks like individual beading, you know.
Yep.
yeah. Can you hand me the fireworks, the second fireworks one? Speaking of the beading. Yeah. Joanne and I, last year, we went to Nag's Head together, and it was during 4th of July. So we were like, oh, I brought all my Temari stuff. It's like Temari and cooking, that's what we're going to do. And we decided to do a firework ball. We had seen a picture of it, and it's all freestyle. You just kind of do what you want to do. So we did the first one, and we even started, thanks. This was the first one that we did. So and then we put the date so that we'd have, but it can be pulled out. So as you can see, it's very whimsical. It's just all the different fireworks and things like that. And that was done in black. And then this year, we were here, but we still did the ball. This year, I went with the Japanese threads.
To the left there. There we go. There we go. Right in there. A little higher.
Ooh.
Holy smokes.
And I got a new tool. So all of these crystals that you see were hand glued. And so it's got little stars and I have triangles, I have circles. And then I also use this Japanese cord. And that would be like the silver, the shiny, the super shiny. And I love the way that it turned out. The Japanese cord, you have to be careful because it starts to break down.
You got to get it back toward the middle there.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. The Japanese thread breaks up, so you can't make a lot of small movements. So that's why I thought it would be good for this, because you have the long strands. So I made them short. I'd do 1 or 2 stitches and then I'd start it over again. Otherwise it would start cracking.
Give us kind of a tour around that ball. That's spectacular.
I love this one.
And the shine is showing up really well too.
And the other thing is filament. If you can see here, can you see how the ball kind of, here it is right here, how it kind of shimmers? You do that by wrapping a filament around it, which the first time I did it, it was so hard to work with because it would just slip off the ball or it would get caught and start coming up and you couldn't keep it in place. So I tried something different. What I did on this one, and I'm going to do it now anytime I use the filament, is I laid the filament down and then I went over the filament with 1 strand of thread, whatever my base thread was.
Okay.
And that way you could still see the sparkle, but it stayed on. So that's one of the things that I learned by doing this one.
So you're at a point now where every one of these balls is really kind of just a creative adventure then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, and if you look at in the designs, like we're working on one now for a charity that we're doing. So in progress, I got this here and here. This one's in progress. And as you can see, once I get it started here, I got it in there. Okay. So this is a ball in progress.
Okay.
And as you can see, this is what is considered the white pin is the North Pole, and then you have the black pin, which is the South Pole. And that's what you work off of. And then I'll be bundling these, so that's why these are set off this way. Okay. So this is a traditional ball. This is a traditional Japanese ball, and it's to represent the prayers that are left at the Buddhist temple. Because if you go to a Buddhist temple, they have these strings, and people have strings which have prayers on them, and this ball represents those prayers. And that's why I thought it was an appropriate ball for a good organization that we're working with to earn charitable money to help the kids. So I thought I tied the 2 together.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So
now
go ahead, Jennifer. Go ahead.
Are you using Pearl 5 on that one?
Pearl 5, yes.
Yeah, it's interesting how the Pearl 5 looks like ribbons, especially if you border it with a metallic. It looks like ribbon.
It does. It really picks up.
Oh, go back. Oh, wait a minute. So
Okay.
I thought that was ribbon around there. So that's
No,
all
No.
pearl
that's Pearl
five.
5.
That's
Oh
Pearl
my
5.
word.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
Pearl
it
5.
looks like ribbon.
Oh, look how that worked. Oh, I thought that was. I'll be darned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
Good.
one of the things that I love about Temari is how,
Wow.
especially with what we use, how it looks like ribbon. I just think that's awesome.
Good
It
call.
does.
I did. Oh, I did. I just assumed that was ribbon you laid around there. Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Oh,
see, I
no.
did back in the day too. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah. And as you can see here, I used one variegated and it kind of changes the look of it.
Yep.
So, and then I did also the filament in the ball. Here we go. The filaments in this one too.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And
that top base layer, that's when the real creativity begins. Right there. Okay.
yeah, this is where, as you can see, there's these stitches right here, or this material right here, the
To the
Kreinik
left, to the
right
left,
here.
and back closer to you.
Okay, to the left, back closer to me.
There. So
Okay.
it's in focus. There we go.
Okay, so right here, do you see those strings?
Mm-hmm.
That's Kreinik. That is the markings. So they go from very easy, which would be a C4. So you divide the ball into 4 spaces, to one that we worked on this Saturday, which was a complex 10, which is a much
Right.
more difficult stitching, or I'm sorry, difficult, I guess, breakup or
The
design wise.
guideline,
The
yeah, the guideline
guidelines.
wrapping.
But I do find that the more complicated the guidelines are, the simpler the stitches are. So we're doing one now and it has spindles and it's just a whole ball of spindles. And that was a C10.
Right.
And it's just, if you see the simple's easy. That's usually 4, 6, 12. You can break it up whatever way that you want to. And then this one here, this is another traditional ball. This is the umbrella ball.
This is so cool. This one is so cool.
And
I know.
the neat thing about this one, so it's all the paracels. Nothing, you don't have to plan any of it. The paracels don't have to be the same size. They don't have to be the same color. It has very complicated markings, as you can see here. And you actually go over, let's pull it back a little bit. You go over the threads. So this is, I think it's a 4 gauge of the Kreinik. So it's real thick.
Oh, uh-huh.
But then that gives you the illusion of the ribs in the paracels.
Yep.
Right.
And
And
then
are
on
those
this,
is each paracel set in the pentagram?
yes,
Right.
yes.
Okay.
And then if you see here on the top, what I did there is I used a black sequin and then a black pen or pin. And then that gives it the illusion of the tip of the umbrella.
Yep.
And
I know that one's super cute.
I did these, and this was the first one that we did. So that's this one. And as you can see, they look completely different on the white and then on the yellow.
Yep.
And I did the yellow one on the way to California because I just threw a whole bunch of different flosses in and I didn't have to worry about looking at a pattern. I could just pull pieces of thread out and then make whatever I wanted to make. So that's these.
And Jennifer, you said pentagram, and then now I can see the pentagram. So that's what that's your base shape that you're working out of then.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the C10 is what this is stitched on.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, so
And
you
it's
work inside shapes that the guidelines make.
Right.
So you have to
Okay.
be able to visualize those shapes and see it on the ball.
And this one, can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
Ah, put a rattle in.
You can put a rattle in it. The bigger the balls, I like putting rattles in. So you basically take it, cut it, core it, and then put a cat toy in it and start rolling it up.
Yep.
I think is fun.
That one's one of my favorites.
And then I love this one. This is one of my favorites. It's It's the basket. And so this is a traditional Japanese one. And what this stands for is, let's say someone was retiring from a job or starting a new job or starting a school. This is the basket ball, not an actual basketball, but it's the basket type Temari ball. And what you do is you present it to someone at the start of their new journey. So let's say somebody was retiring and I stitched this for them. I would give them this ball and this basket, this is considered the basket, you would give to them and it would be empty, as this is. Then as the adventure continued or they finished it, then you would present them with the same colors. However, the basket would be filled. I have not filled one yet. That's my next thing. So you could either stitch flowers in it, or you could use material, or you could use beads or anything like that. So you fill the basket, and that's to represent the end of whatever journey you were going on.
So could you like put a piece of fabric of that
Yes.
shape and then stitch over it?
And stitch over it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think
that
I've
was what
seen
I was.
that before.
I've
but
seen
not,
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
cool.
also what you would want to do is if you wanted to embroider flowers in it, I would probably embroider it and then put the basket around it. That's probably the way I would do it. But I'm going to start with the material.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So I love that story of that one.
Yeah.
And that's the black one. And again, you can look at it in the colors. This is like
I know, it's fun
like a
to
hay
see
color.
the same one in different colors.
Yep.
And then when you say that, one of the things that I did when I was in lockdown, because I had plenty of time, is I did this. So each one of these balls, and I'll pull them out, but each one of these balls, it's the exact same design, but I just did it in different colors and different materials. So as you can see here, this one here, it's got the blue, it's got the pinks, it has some of that Japanese in there. So that's that one. And then this one I did for Christmas. So as you can see, they look different.
Yep.
And then I did one with the purples.
Oh, there we go.
That hay
Barry
and
loves
the purple.
purple. It's his
There we
favorite
I do
color,
too.
purple and blue.
I do too.
There we go.
And then the last one that I did was this one. And of course, the bling got into this one.
Yeah.
She can't help it.
Can't help
That
it.
super fancy one that's under the dome, is that the same pattern, did you say, that you super blinged it out?
It's the dome one. Let's see.
Yeah. Was
hold
that
on.
the same
I think it's
pattern
the same.
you put?
Oh, it is. Yeah. Yeah. It's the
Yeah.
exact same pattern. Hold on. We'll get
You
it.
put tons of bling on that one.
My assistant is coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, assistant.
Yeah. This was the last one. So
I know. Look at that.
Let's see. So I did the bling in the center, and then I had all metallic. In the Japanese, this is the Japanese cord, and then this is ribbon. I guess it's called ribbon, but it's in the Kreinik. And then I put the green crystals in it.
Yeah, just kind of give us a little tour around that thing, just so we can see all the aspects. Because you got that all decked out there. Wow.
Yeah, that's all decked out. So those are and I get most of my stuff. I buy it on sale. Hobby Lobby has good of these little crystals. I buy those there all the time. These are the green ones right here. I put this one right here. That's Swarovski crystal.
Okay.
And I buy them in bulk. Well, I bought them in bulk, and I have a bunch of them, so I'm using them. And I think what I'm going to be doing is buying more of the smaller ones, so I can do more like I did on the fireworks.
Right.
So that's, should we show them and then the one that we'll take, actually, here, I'll do this one first. This one's funny. This one won Best in Show. The kids took it. I didn't even know they took it from me. And they took it to the Berlin Fair, and they put it in under my name. And they said, "Mom, you got to go to the Berlin Fair." I said, "I don't like going to the Berlin Fair." And they said, "No, you have to go." I was like, "Okay." And then when I got there, I saw the ball with the ribbon. So
you had no idea. You had no idea.
I had no idea. No, they went and took it. They're going, "No, we're putting it in."
There we go. Your biggest
awesome.
fans. Give us a little tour of that one too.
This one's called the chrysanthemum, and
Yeah, could see that. Yep.
and I love the contrast of the purple with the black, and I
Mm-hmm.
believe it's a 12. I think it's a simple 12, and you just kind of do the same stitch, and you have to bring it out, and you have to bring it out further than you think that you should in order to get that chrysanthemum look.
Right.
So
And then hold up the glass thing, because equally interesting, or not equally interesting, but quite interesting, is the way you display these things.
yes, I get a lot of them from HomeSense. So what I like to do, and this one's actually a new one, which I just got. So I go to HomeSense or Home Goods, and they sell these crystal labras, or crystal things. This one actually is a
Mm-hmm.
pyramid one, so it changes color. I don't know if you can really
Yeah.
see. It
Yeah, we
changes
can see
color,
it.
Yep.
and I place them on top of that. So I have the candlesticks. I have this one here, and they have different crystals, and I have different shapes and sizes, and it's just so much fun. It's an
Yeah.
easy way. And then I have, let's see,
Well,
and then
that's a whole yard sale, Goodwill, whatever.
oh yeah,
Yeah, just wherever you
Yeah.
see glassware.
wherever, yeah, wherever you find it. And I find that it changes the look of whatever you're presenting, whether you have it up or down. And then you can see in the back, it's all different types of
Right.
ways that I present
Mm-hmm.
them. I also like the long bowls. I guess they're called bowls. And then you
Dough
can place three or
bowls, I
four.
think.
Yeah. And then I've got back there, it looks like a whale. And so I have the big ball on the top, and then it goes down to the smaller ball. So that's kind of fun. And then I even dabbled, let me grab this, in jewelry. Of course, had to dabble in jewelry.
Ooh.
So I made this.
Oh,
Yep. So pretty.
So the Temari, it's actually a flat, almost like a saucer shape. That wasn't originally what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a round circle, but my dog got a hold of it, and he turned it into this shape, which I actually liked better. So I stuck
Yeah.
with it. So this is designed by Elvis,
Yeah.
So and these are just glass beads that I, made the necklace and then attached the
Yep.
Temari on there.
Excellent.
So that was a lot of fun.
Yep. It's awesome.
And then I lost my assistant. So hold on one
Oh
second.
dear.
And then this was another one. So a lot of the patterns that I'm doing now is I'm just finding patterns in different places, or I find a picture and then I just kind of figure out how to make it. So this is the one that I did for this year for the 4th of July. I love this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. That one's cool.
Now you
It's
just
got the
made this up,
stars.
right?
It was somebody had made it and it was online. I didn't have any directions.
Okay.
So I kind of winged it. But I did the filament. I'm using a lot more filament now that I know how to use it. And then the stars are in the Krynic. It's, that type of a ribbon. And these are not ribbons. These are actually number 5 DMC.
Mm-hmm.
So I love this one.
So are you at a point now where you're buying your DMC? Obviously, a skein of that stuff doesn't go very far at all. Does pearl cotton come in larger quantities, like on cones or something?
Well, there are some, but they don't make as many. There's like little spools.
Oh,
And I bought a bunch of those, but they're discontinuing a lot of those.
oh,
I Emmett Thistle a lot,
Because
and I just like
they
going
have
and
drawers
looking.
full of all the
Oh.
DMC
Oh
profiles.
yeah, and I love every one of them.
so
Mhm.
you're
And then-
as you do this, then you're having to work with skeins. Then
Yes.
you don't just have a big old spindle of it. Oh, okay.
No.
No.
I have a very large stash.
I bet.
Yeah.
So so it's a lot of fun. I try to get as many colors as possible, because then a lot of times, like, we had the class on Saturday and I started it and I didn't like the way that it looked, so I went in my stash and found other colors to work on.
Mm-hmm.
So, you try to plan your colors and how you're going to do it, but a lot of times when you start working with it, you're like, that's not quite looking like how I wanted it to. And then and you can go around
Yeah.
and change it.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the question every needleworker hates, and I hate it too. And that has to do with how long does this take? Can you give us a relative? And I know it depends. I know.
Yep.
But I mean, is it like if you do one of these balls? Is it like if you work at it fairly steady over the course of 3 or 4 months, or can you knock it out in a couple of weeks? Um,
There's some that I can knock out in a day.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's some that are just easy. I've been doing them so often that, it's just like a second nature and I don't have to really think about it. For example, the one that we worked on this weekend, I am struggling with it because I'm having trouble, like Jennifer said, visualizing where it's supposed to go.
Oh,
And
That's a complicated one.
very complicated. It didn't
Yeah.
look, it's just spindles, which are those long, elongated stitches. But I called a friend, Janice. I called Janice and
Oh,
I said, are you having the same problem I'm having? It took me like a day and a half just to get the one color on there. And
oh my
I'm
goodness.
really having trouble
Do
visualizing
you have
it.
it there?
I do. I don't know where it is. Oh,
so
here.
then this whole thing is no different than any other needlework project. That some come easy and are fast. Others, like this one, is a mental exercise for you. So
Right.
you're working it.
So that's this one.
Yeah.
See, it's the spindles. And it's all these. So I'm adding the third color here.
Right.
But I have ripped this out more than you can imagine.
Oh no. Yeah, and it's gonna form like a star. There's gonna be 5 colors.
Yeah. Do I have to? Yeah, it's
And
5
it's supposed
colors
to make a star, and you're supposed to do lots of weaving and over and under.
Yeah, a lot of weaving. I just got done doing the weaving on this one here. But then you have to go through, and Robin made it. I mean, because Robin's been doing this forever, so she's like, "Oh, it's not trouble, no problem."
I know.
And I'm like, "What am I doing wrong? I can't get it." So I'm
Yeah.
trying to visualize it. So what I'm basically doing when I'm working on it is I look and I know, okay, a spindle has to have a certain number of colors and it can't duplicate. So that's kind of how I'm getting around. But I've got to figure out a better way. But that's what's
Yeah.
going on with this one. I did not expect it to be as complicated as it is.
Yeah, the last time I did the spindle one, it was that one that has the half chrysanthemum with the
Oh, I
spindle
have
leaf
that
on the
one.
bottom.
Oh,
Yeah,
I gotta
and
show
oh
you
my
that one.
goodness,
Hold
the
on one second.
stretching. I misstretched, and then I had to take it all out because I overstretched, and I wasn't going to fill the space before I reached the ends. So I
this
had to
one,
like redo it. Yeah,
this is that chrysanthemum that she's talking about.
right.
Up here.
There you go.
So it's the chrysanthemum with the leaves, and then I put little ladybugs on it
Oh, cute.
just to kind of. It was a
Yeah.
lot of green. There was a lot of green. I was like, I
There
have
is
to
a
break
lot
that
of
up.
green in that one.
And as you can see, the leaves right here are done with the
Yeah.
variegated.
And you have to like stretch your points out. And I was stretching too far, and then I couldn't fill up the sides.
Right.
So I
right.
had to take it out and redo it because I was over stretching.
Yeah, this one was a lot of needlework.
Mm-hmm.
I know that my fingers hurt after I did this one
Yeah.
because you had to get for the
They
chrysanthemum,
come
you had
out
to go real
gorgeous.
tight with the chrysanthemum. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I just think
Yeah.
it turned out really pretty. But and there was who was it? I think it was Carol. Was it Carol? No, it wasn't Carol. It was no, I forget. No, it could have been Carol. So she took this and this design she took and she did it, base color was red, and she turned it into watermelon pieces. And then she had these
cool.
flat beads that looked like watermelon. So I got the beads.
Cute.
And I want to make my watermelon one. It was so cute. So, she didn't have this chrysanthemum in it. This is what she turned red and then put the seeds on it.
Oh.
So that's what I'm going to do with that.
So she did the green on a red and then put on seeds. That's cute.
Yeah.
That's a fun summer one.
I love it. I thought it was real cute.
Yeah.
Do you mind handing
Oh,
me
cool.
the calendar ball?
Ooh,
This
yeah,
is
the
I was
calendar ball.
the calendar ball. We're talking Robin into allowing us to do another one. So now you're
Oh, well,
talking
I'm
about
still working
time.
on the first one, so
So you talk about time. This is about the size of a basketball, and
yep.
this is what's called a calendar ball. So each one of these flowers represent a month. And this one, we just got started and the pandemic happened. So, and the scary thing on this one was when we marked it, there were certain flowers. I think it was like this one here. There were certain flowers that needed a different number of guidelines. So we had to actually cut out the guidelines that we had set up over the whole ball and then add a couple of lines to it. So it's like the Hardinger, when you have to
Yeah.
cut your piece, it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But once we did that, and then this one here, this is the Christmas, obviously a poinsettia.
Mhm.
And this one wasn't bad because most of the flowers we had already done. And we thought rolling it was going to be difficult, but it actually wasn't. So, and the way that this is, it's a big ball. I have the rattle in it. So I put the rattle in this one. And this one you start with 7 skeins. So 7
Yeah.
threads
After your yarn, you skein
after your
your yarn.
yarn. Yeah. You do the yarn and then you put the 7 threads and then you get all the way down to the 1 and then you mark it. And then that's how you get these designs that you actually, this is the rose, that's a rose. I know that this one's the poinsettia. And so this one actually took us more than a year. I know that I finished a bunch before we actually went back to class because
Mhm.
I had found a pattern and I did the rows. So a lot of these I knew how to do. So I just kind of went ahead and did
Oh,
them.
okay.
Remarkable to
But
me at that size how round that is.
yes, the yarn helps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the yarn helps. I think if you were to, and it gives a nice cushion to dig
Mhm.
into.
Yep.
I really like the yarn. There were a couple that we were doing. We were going to do some fun ones, and also like this one, we're practicing trying to figure out what is the best color combination. So I even covered
Mm.
these in yarn and then wrapped it with the thread.
Yeah.
It's a nice base. It's a nice
I
base
do
to.
that with all mine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
wrap
I'm.
all mine in yarn first and then the thread.
Yeah, I kind of I'm leaning that way because you get that
Mhm.
feel. And I think
Get that
if
in
you
the
go
squish.
that squish, yeah, that but I think if you it's much easier to get it too tight if you're using the thread. And the
Mm-hmm.
yarn, you don't have to worry about what kind of yarn. I know Joanne had given me all her mother's yarn.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have this big bucket of yarn and it doesn't matter because it's going to be covered and
Yep.
just
Yeah.
use it. Yeah.
Now, I think most interesting, maybe Joanne can hold up how you display that calendar ball.
Oh,
Oh, right.
do you have the basketball case that came in? The calendar ball came in?
Case?
Yeah, the case. I got it at Michael's, and it is a basketball case. So
Or
this is the
soccer
top,
ball or,
or soccer
a
ball, or
sports
whatever,
ball.
a sports bar. But as you can see, it has the mirror behind it. See, can you tell?
Yep.
And so
Hi.
it's like, ah, we're going. So that's how I display the
Yeah.
calendar ball. It fits
Mhm.
in there. It's safe. It doesn't get as
Do you do
dusty
any
as
other
it could
needlework
get.
or just
And so
Temari?
that's how. Well, I started out, my first love was, thank you, my first love was cross stitching. And
Oh,
I
okay.
love to cross stitch. The angel over the fireplace,
Mm-hmm.
that was the last piece that I finished right before I had Grayson and then my
Oh,
daughter.
okay.
And then once I had kids, I had to find something that I could put down and pick up and put down and pick up. So I started doing a lot of samplers and hearting. And then when the kids got even
Mm.
older and you do so much running around, that's when I started doing more of the Temari because it was easy to pick up and put down,
Right.
or I could finish one in a day. But now the kids are going to college. I actually pulled out my angels that I hadn't finished yet, and I'm going to
Ah.
start plowing away on that.
So
So
were you in when Robin started teaching at Thistle? Were you right in at the beginning?
I was, yeah, I
Oh,
was.
okay.
And
I
I
had to
did
wait like
basically,
6 months before I could get into a class.
well, my daughter was doing something in her art class, and he
Mhm.
was going to be at Thistle. And I had followed Thistle from when they were in Glastonbury at Somerset
Mhm.
Walk,
Now,
and then they
for
moved to the
those who
other
don't
store.
know, Thistle is the local shop.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And then I went in there, and it was, I think Carol was there. And I looked down and I said, "Oh, those are exquisite. How, you know?" And she goes, "Oh, they're going to start a new class. Would you like to join?" And I said, "Absolutely." So
Mhm.
that's how I got started on it. And it was funny because I'm a Navy brat, and we actually lived in Japan. And I
Oh.
pulled out the other day, I found my little girl kimono, and it's covered in tamari balls. And I
Oh,
thought,
Oh,
oh,
cute.
that's so neat, you know, that I
How
started
fun.
with this thing, and it was now I know what they are, and I actually make them. And I'm still friends with the person who gave me his mother gave me this kimono, and
Mm.
I was just telling him, I was like, yeah, can you believe all those years, and now I'm making them?
Nice.
So it was fun. It
Very
was a lot of
cool.
fun.
yep.
Are there
Before
any
you
other? Yeah,
before you show more, Mary is asking about books. Remember,
Yes, books.
the
And you
books.
can
If you
use
can,
any weight of yarn, sport weight. I use a boucle yarn that's a nightmare to knit or crochet with. And I was going to
thank
throw
you.
it out. And instead of throwing it out, I use it to wrap my tamari balls.
So I have a bunch of books. This is one. I'm trying to think of which one. This is the Temari traditional Japanese embroidery. And there's a lady, she's in her 80s. Her pieces are exquisite, and she does.
Hmm.
Um, I'll have to get her name. Robin knows who she is, but she does a lot of the free embroidery on it, the birds, and
Okay.
they're fantastic.
and
And then there's
who is the author of that first one? Sorry, we
the author. I'm sorry,
need to give people a
Margaret.
chance to write down the thing.
No
Right.
problem.
Margaret
Margaret
Ludlow.
Margaret.
Ludlow.
Okay. I haven't seen that one.
I ordered a few off of Amazon, and then this is
Ah.
Barbara Suse.
Yep.
Well, this is the one we talked about,
The Barbara
Jennifer.
Seuss. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Barbara
Okay.
Seuss. Oh, and she's the one that gave me the idea for the necklace.
Ah,
There's her
there you
necklace.
go.
Yeah, and then this is Anna Diamond. It's her book.
Hmm.
Anna Diamond.
Yeah, here it is, right there.
Okay. Neil's daughter.
And
Never mind.
and then this one. Oh, and this one, there was a couple in here who had an egg. This one has an egg in the front. See it there, the white
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
one.
Yep.
yeah. See,
And
they
then
just
this one.
concentrated on doing stuff in the middle and nothing really at the ends. But you
Right,
did
right.
you did all the whole
I did the
shebang.
whole thing.
That's
Why
right.
stop at just the middle?
I know.
Diana Vandervoort. Okay.
Yeah. And you can also go on Etsy. Have you guys
Etsy?
Etsy? Yeah. If you go on Etsy, you can download patterns. So I
Really?
did that too. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
this is another
I started writing down the title of the book. They're all Tamaris, so now it's just a matter of
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Diana Vandervoort times 2 then.
Times
Okay.
2. Yeah.
Nice.
And most of these, like I like this one. This one uses like a gold thread. Let's see which direction. This way. This one here.
Oh,
I would love.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
here's a
That's really
parasol.
pretty.
That one
Isn't
over
that
here.
really similar to that one that we just did with the 5? Oh, that's a
No,
5-petal flower.
no, the center, those flowers are stitched. That's
Oh,
not because we've done some that. Where is that? The
right.
empty space. I'm trying to think where it's the empty space that
Yeah.
causes the. I mean, I have
That
it
one, well, I
somewhere
know you
here.
have the one that's the green and the purple,
The
but it's
red,
wrapped up for the raffle.
the red and the purple. Yeah, that one. Yeah, here it is. Here's one. This is one that it's the. Here, let me put there. The negative space is what causes the flower.
Mm.
So your
Yeah.
Oh
stitching
yeah. Oh yeah.
is around there, and it's your negative space that you have to. That's actually
That's
the
so
design.
pretty.
Yeah, I love this one.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is one they wanted me to do French knots for the center. I hate doing French knots. I'll
I
try
did French
anything.
knots on the last one, and it can be done, but it's difficult doing it on the ball.
Doing it on, I don't like doing it on just plain
Oh,
material. So
okay.
I can do them. It's just I think the beads just add a little. I started
Yeah.
it because I did a cross stitching of Santa Claus, and they had all this snow. But if
Mm.
you did a French knot, it got lost. But if you put the bead on it, it actually popped. So that's kind of
Oh,
how I got
okay.
started
Mhm.
embellishing. Any other ones up there? Oh, the gray one. Oh, and the no, the heron. That one would be good. So this was the first one that I started doing the actual
Ooh,
bling on because
so
I
pretty. I love that.
I finished it and it was like, it needs something. What's it need? And of course, it needed bling. So this was the first one that I did with the bling.
Wow.
I
And
love the
then
bling.
I love the bling. It just, I don't know, it
Yeah.
makes me happy. And then this is more of an embroidery. These are the herons.
Yeah.
Oh, I see them. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
see 'em. So this is the bamboo. The green is the bamboo, and then the herons.
Oh, look at that.
It's really pretty.
Yeah, I
That's
love.
that's what I that's what I love about these traditional art forms, is that there's the stories and there's so much more to them than just a shape.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then I love. I think this one we already looked at. This one here. This was a Christmas one we did,
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
and
pretty.
I just love the. And what I did here is that each shape you don't have the same number of beads on it. It just was the
Hmm.
shape. So I did some beads, regular tiny beads, and then I did some of the crystals.
Nice. Did you do the Christmas one a year or two ago that's all the stars all over?
I don't remember that one. Which
It
one
had
was that?
stars. I
No,
haven't finished it.
for Christmas, what I'm working on is I tried to do it last year. I didn't get through it last year. Did you see any of the pictures of the wreath that they put in the middle of the table?
Yes.
I want to do
Yes.
that, but I want to do it long. So I
Oh,
have all the
oh,
stuff for it. I've been in the process of making, and she went with straight. So what we're talking about is
yeah.
Robin had a
Tell them.
friend. Robin had a friend who was going to be bedridden for 6 weeks. So she told Robin to get together all of the balls, just make little kits so she could do the Temari balls while she was bedridden. And then they made a wreath. And at Christmas time, people would tour the different houses and see how they're decorated. And
Mm.
I think it's actually this ball. So Robin designed this
Oh,
ball to do as a raffle. And when they
oh,
went into
okay.
this lady's house, she had done all those balls that she did while she was sick. She turned them into a wreath. She had a round table, so she did the round wreath. Absolutely
Right.
gorgeous. She did
It
it all in
was.
green. Absolutely gorgeous. So
Yep.
I want to do that. But my table
Ah.
is oblong. So what I'm going to do is a straight
Uh,
one. And then I'm not sticking with just green. I want some of the pinks and the blues and the purples and things like that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
you stitch one and then you go and you run and you make one for the Christmas and then you stitch another one. So
yeah.
Nice.
that's what I'm in the process of working on. So that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Uh,
And then go ahead.
right. I just wanted to ask about the yarn. I assume that we're talking a straight wool yarn. We don't mess with acrylic or.
Oh, acrylic is fine.
Whatever I have. Yeah. Whatever I
Oh.
have, I
Yeah.
use.
So if
I
somebody wants to
use,
get rid of a bunch of yarn, you'll take it all because you'll use it all.
You'll use it. Yeah. And
yeah.
Okay.
especially now that I'm using it on the small balls too. It's just,
Hmm.
the feel is just so much better. And it's a better base, I think, to work on.
Okay.
So
Huh.
I think that's my new
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm
Do
using like a boucle that's difficult to use, like knitting or crocheting. It's just a nightmare. So I instead of throwing it out, I was going to throw it away, and I use it to wrap my balls now.
Yeah. And you could go to
So
Goodwill and find
yeah,
skeins of yarn there. I
yeah,
mean, no
just
one sees
whatever.
it. And
No.
it's just, I think, one of the neat things. So these originally started, let me get it in there. They started as kids' toys. So the
Hmm.
mothers would take rice husks and wrap them up and then create the ball. Actually, make it round and use the
Mm-hmm.
wrapping of old thread that they had. And then they decided to start decorating it just so the kids could have something to play with. That's how it got started.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
And I just think it's so neat,
Yeah.
you know.
And they'll use like the rice hulls, recycled paper.
Yeah,
I made
whatever
a
they
few
had,
Yeah,
they'd
I
throw
made
it
a few
together.
bases with some yarn and quilt batting centers.
Oh.
But it did make them heavier. That's
It, yeah, yeah.
versus the
I don't
styrofoam.
I don't know if I want to go that far. I like the styrofoam. I like,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
had
it's
to try
easy to
it.
work with. And was it hard?
No, it was really easy. They came out really round and stuff, but they definitely are heavier.
Yeah, that would make more
So,
sense as far as the toy is concerned, because you'd want
hmm
it a little bit heavier. And then you were talking also about the stands. And oh, we found this new shrink wrap. This is one of the ones. So for gifts, these are wonderful. I have it on a stand, and the stand has crystals in it, and then the ball, and then it's shrink wrapped. So if you went, you know, instead of bringing a bottle of wine, you bring them a Temari ball.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
This is one we're going to be raffling off, so that's why it's in here. But I just
Yep.
love the way that it looks. I think it's a great
Yeah.
way to
It's
present.
very fancy, very
Very
pretty.
fancy.
Did we see? We need to wrap up here, but did we see all of the eggs, or are there more eggs to look at?
I think we saw all the eggs.
Okay.
Yep, we saw all the eggs. Now the challenge is I'll probably have to do new ones for this year. We'll
Yeah.
add to it.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's fantastic. It's just amazing. From
Awesome.
a child's toy to high level art form. Yeah.
Oh, and then there's this one lady in Japan, and she does all one color, but she does it almost three-dimensionally. And I so want to take a class with her. I just think it, you know, and so one of the things that I've been doing is just trying, especially when we were in lockdown, because I didn't have any more patterns. I decided that I was going to do different pattern or the same pattern with different threads. So the wool threads, you know, the ribbons, and just see what does it look like? What are the challenges? And so that's what I've been doing. And a lot of the silks, the variegated silks.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Nice.
All right. Oh, we got one more question in here. How much do you match the
we?
yarn to the thread that
Oh.
you will use to wrap with?
Now, as far as the guidelines are concerned,
No, the under yarn. The yarn that you put on and then you put the thread on
it doesn't
top.
matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But the
I've been
thread
using-
does.
The thread does. The thread.
Yeah.
So this base thread matters.
It
The
does. 'Cause,
yarn doesn't matter.
yeah, I was like, oh, I'll use up this thread that's like this other color. And it was a darker color than what I wanted my base color, my top color to be. And I wrapped it on, you know, the very early layers. But then it took a ton of wrapping of the top thread to cover up
Yeah.
all of the thread showing through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And then
you
I
got to
did
be
one.
careful.
I did one. I wanted to try a variegated bottom. I thought, oh, that might be neat. Do the it looks muddled. You don't get the good variegation. So if I
muddy.
want, it's just muddy. So what I decided to do is if I wanted a little bit of a different color is to use the filament, and you could use rainbow filament to do that instead.
Right.
So you got some of the variegation, but it didn't work. It didn't work at
Right.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here,
Very
Sandy.
cool.
Sandy, do you need a class to start learning this, or will following a book be enough?
It depends how experienced you are. And
Yeah, and if you can follow the instructions.
yeah, everybody has their different, because we were laughing the other day with Robin, and I have her first instruction, and it was basically, you know, use pins, make sure you have scissors. She had everything, you know, laid out.
Yeah,
Now it's okay, Kiku stitch 10 times and we're reading it. I think also if you're able to visualize in 3D, because as Jennifer said, you know, the patterns are flat, but this is a 3D form. If you have spatial, if you're really good at that spatial, it might be something that you could pick up right away.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I said in our podcast today that this struck me as a technique where a class and simple projects is really where you need to start, just to get your bearings. Where, like for me, I mean, I just view most needlework on a flat piece. If you're patient and determined, you can do it at just about any level. But this has always struck me as you really need to start simple, so that you get your just get your head oriented as to what's going on.
Yeah, and to have the successes.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, this particular ball that I'm working on right now, I've probably ripped out all of the stitches 10 times easily. So you just have to be patient with it, and
Yeah.
and keep trying. And it's funny because all of a sudden a light bulb will go off and you're like, oh, well, this wasn't so hard, but right now it is.
Yeah.
So it's something I love to do. So if it takes me 6 times, it takes me 6 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you call up and you go, I can't figure it out.
I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it is nice to have that group dynamic, because then you can say, was this as hard for you as it was for me?
Yeah.
And try to get some hints.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Michelle. Actually, Michelle,
Yeah.
Jennifer, and Joanne, all thanks to all of you, because the 3 of you made this happen. This has just been an absolute treat. Thanks for doing this. Thanks, Michelle, for showing off all your amazing work. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure.
A lot of fun. All right, thanks to everybody for joining us tonight, and hope you enjoyed it. And then we'll look for you on Friday at 2:00 p.m. when we celebrate World Cross Stitch Day. Michelle, thanks so much again. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.